Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Kim Heil, Dr. Kim Heil. I'm the superintendent for Osseo Area School District, and thank you so much for coming this evening. So we want to supply you with a lot of detailed information that you'll need that'll be able to help you understand the process, why the process, and the opportunities that are available. So this evening as well with me, I have John. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm John Morstead. I'm the Executive Director of Finance and Operations for the district.
Good evening, Steve Flisk. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for the elementary schools.
Hey, Valella, Executive Director of Community Relations.
Laurel Anderson, Executive Director of Human Resources.
Brian Bass, Assistant Superintendent for Equity and Achievement.
And the most important, humble but fantastic. So good evening. Thank you for coming here today. So some of you may know, but a part of our Building a Better Future plan has shared that within the district that we would be repurposing one of our elementary schools in the district to serve our pre-K population, an enrichment and community-based programming. So there was a lot of study behind that. Our ECMAC group, and ECMAC stands for, where are we at? Enrollment and Capacity Committee for the last 5 to 7 years. Part of that committee is made up of parents, it's made up of staff, and every year they look at the building capacity in the district and they give suggestions. So for several years, at least over the last few years, we have had crunches in certain areas where we don't have room to be able to grow those programs, and then in other areas we have less enrollment. So looking at that information that we've had for like over the last 5 to 6 years, and also looking at the Better Future plan, that Crestview was serve to be able to be the repurposed site. So John will go into detail of why Crestview was chosen. So the school is open for an entire another year. So Crestview is in process for a whole another year. So this school will be here and it'll be closed open for the new program June of 2025. So nothing is happening this year, nothing's happening at the end of this year, and it's a full year that's out in which it will happen. So, and within that time period, then there'll be some construction here to repurpose it for the new educational program that we're going to have. John will give you more specifics of the why behind it and why Crestview was chosen.
Thanks, Dr. Heil.
Yeah.
So obviously, why is a big question. Why did you pick my school? I want to acknowledge that this has been a long process, and this is never, ever an easy decision to make to repurpose or use a school for a different reason. So we kind of want to walk through the process we've been going through to get here to today. Many years of research have brought our staff to this point. Combination of staff, students, parents, and caregivers in the community have been a part of the journey and the decision-making process along the way. As Dr. Heil mentioned, we started the Enrollment and Capacity Management Advisory Committee, it's a lot easier to say ECMAC, in 2017. And that committee has consistently shared variations that exist in our enrollment, capacity, and building use, and the need to address them. So for every year they've been in existence, they've been suggesting that we need to address undercapacity buildings. ECMAC and 6 other groups provided suggestions for our Building a Better Future plan that included several facility improvements and the repurposing of one or more schools. Recommendations from those groups were made to an oversight task force that was tasked with reviewing that work and making final recommendations to the school board. That group used criteria in alignment with the district's mission and values. The criteria included the ones listed here: equitable impact, fiscal responsibility, district-wide alignment to standards, capacity, long-term impact, program improvement, communication and engagement, and flexible adaptable spaces. The finalized plan for Building a Better Future solidified the decision to move forward with the repurposing of one elementary building. So why Crestview? Our Osseo Area Schools team has been working to determine which elementary school to repurpose since the community approved the Build a Better Future referendum in 2023. Crestview has been specifically chosen for a variety of reasons, some which we have listed here, which include its central location to our other neighborhood schools, opportunities to expand and offer more community services that Dr. Heil mentioned, and also a lower student enrollment that is starting to reach unsustainable levels for the school. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. for this.
Good evening again. So as you see, one step at a time. So you heard a little bit about the kind of the background and the history and how we've arrived here. But we also know that this is only the beginning as this decision's been made. And so the one step at a time is going to be laid out. You're going to hear a little bit more about some of the specific timeline on how it's going to impact you and the decisions you're going to make. But the important thing that hopefully you'll see is the intent here is to minimize impact on our families, offer choice and opportunities that we think are going to be are going to help students be successful. But doing this in a way, especially with the timeline, to make sure that we're giving enough information. So that's in part why you're here tonight. We wanted to share that information enough and also get you the kind of information and answer the questions that are going to obviously crop up. So I'm going to turn this over to Kate, who's going to give us more on our specific timelines.
So I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about timeline now. So I'm going to be at the end of our session today handing out a flyer. There's a lot of great information on here. On the back, you'll see some frequently asked questions. There's actually even more on our website. There's pieces of that being added tonight and tomorrow morning as well. So hopefully a lot of your questions are answered there. But if you don't see something and you have a question, there's 2 hotlines. There's an email and also a phone number that you can call to find out more information. The website's at the top right of this back page too. district279.org/repurposing. So make sure to check that out. And we are going to be here to answer questions too on a one-on-one basis tonight too. We'll stick around. So like I mentioned, the detailed flyer, snail mail letter will go home tomorrow as well, just to have a lot of your questions answered again and make sure that you have all the information that you need to make an informed decision moving forward here. And we'll continually remind you, right, this isn't actually taking place officially until June of 2025. So we want to make sure during that time we continually send out reminders and information to you as you need it. We're going to be celebrating all the great things that have happened here at Crestview from next month moving forward until the last day of school next year in 2025. So make sure to stay tuned for more information on that. We want you definitely to participate in all those great things that will be happening. We also are going to have a preview night at the transferring schools, and we'll talk more a little bit on the next slide about what those schools are. But that will be, you'll have a few options to choose from, and that will be your opportunity to go to these sites, talk to staff, have a school tour, really get to know these sites so you can make that informed decision coming up in the fall. And of course, if you want to go earlier, you can definitely call those schools to have a tour. You can also check out more information on their website, and that's all kind of in the FAQ on this handout and then on the website as well. Construction will start at Crestview in June 2025, so a little over a year from now. And then Crestview staff and students today will begin their new journeys at transferring schools in September of 2025. I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Fliske.
Yes, thank you. So as we can see here on our timeline here, but moving to transferring school options. So this is obviously the critical information that I'm sure you're wondering. What are the 3 schools? So we have identified Edinburgh, Fair Oaks, and Zanewood as the option schools for you as parents to select. So you will have that opportunity to do that. And as Kay shared with you, there's going to be opportunities for you to visit the schools and see, and as well as to a timeline that is going to be long enough for you to do that investigating for yourself and make the best informed decision. So we think these 3 schools are going to offer excellent opportunities educationally for your child. And importantly, as I was sharing before, our goal is to minimize impact. And so transportation will be provided for your child for the duration and the time that they are in that selected school. So they will have that transportation. So it's going to be critical to identify the school so that we can make sure that we work together to get that transportation in place. For incoming kindergarten students, those students will still, again, everyone will be here next year, we're hoping, but they will also then move on into the next school in the following year.
So one of our goals, I just had to jump in because
Yes.
I'm a hard person. I need to throw that in there. So one of, it's an awful decision that I had to make, and our main goal was how do we, as Dr. Flip said, have the less impact on people as possible. So in 2026, fall of 2026, our district will be having boundary changes district-wide. So at that point, in the various different schools, because our schools are over-enrolled in some, way under-enrolled in others, some of our students will be moving through our system that fall. So one of our goals was to ensure, as we repurpose this site, that your babies, and I call all of our kids babies, that's no disrespect, but that the babies will only have to move once. So when there's boundary changes in the fall of 2026, your babies will not have to move again. We also could have made a decision and undergo, okay, fortunately everybody's gonna go here, right? But we want to give you choice, just like you get choice to come here, we want to give you choice to where you want the next school for you to go to. So that's why we were doing that, and we also wanted to ensure you don't have to worry about how your babies are going to get to school. We're going to make sure they're transferred to the school, as well as with our staff. We're going to make sure our staff, with the numbers of depending on where our kids go, a lot of it's where they're at. The staff is going to be there with them as well. So I just wanted to put a little heart in this a little bit. So, okay, go ahead.
I think you guys can jump. Dr.
Sorry,
Howell,
I
you summed
didn't
it up
cheat.
great, so-
Sorry.
No, we're good. Just as she was mentioning, just as obviously as we repurpose the building, there will be a boundary change for that building. But again, we'll ask when you get to make a choice, and beyond that, we'll ensure that your child only moves the one time. So even if there's another boundary change that comes in the fall of 26, as we bring a new school online and make some changes that Dr. Howell mentioned we needed, we're still only going to have your child move the one time. We're not going to do it twice, so you'll be protected in that way. Okay.
And so one of the main goals is that we know Crestview is a family. So that's not even a question. So there is no question whatsoever that this school is outstanding. The staff is outstanding, and opportunities here are outstanding. So just due to enrollment size and other reasons is the reason why we have to do it. So I'm also going to address something that may be in the room as well. So we may be thinking as well, but we're also understanding there's a new school being built elsewhere. So what is occurring is the whole district needs to be adjusted, and where the new school is built, we need that just for the volume that's there. But for here, we also need to be able to, we have pre-K programs that we don't have room for. We don't have room for early childhood programs and various things like that. So our goal here is that this site, just as it's a community site, family site now, we build it even larger as a community site that we're serving our families. So as we work on this site, particularly for our pre-K site, for example, we're looking at the possibility of having at least 4 pre-K programs to start with other early childhood programs here in this school, and how do we make this school resemble of what our culture looks like. So one of our goals at this time, and working toward it, has not been finalized yet, is for our pre-K programs, how do we bring our babies into school and learning through their own culture environment. So one of our goals would be having a Spanish pre-K program, which anyone can go to, having a Hmong pre-K program, having an indigenous pre-K program, and having an African pre-K program. So our goal is whatever is going to become in this site will reflect what is our environment around this site. So we'll look at other ways in which we can bring community in as well. As a matter of fact, I don't know the date, April, May, but input.
May 21st.
May 21st, outside of the educational program, because we have to have education because it's a school, we'll be taking in community input as well of what we would like to have, what you will all in the community would like to have at this school. So We're going to take questions real quick here to be able to share your thoughts. If you're not comfortable sharing it out loud, of course, Principal Webster, these are numbers that you can call. Your opinion is important to us. We want to hear from you what you need to say, and we'll take questions right now. So, yes, ma'am.
So I'm open enrolled in the school district. So how